Join host Laura Brown as she introduces life-changing intuitive tools, live on-the-air intuitive tarot readings, guided energy work to help you align with your highest good, and inspiring conversations. Each show blends Laura's natural psychic gifts with her traditional training as a counselor and coach to provide you with a down-to-earth approach to living your most aligned, most inspired, and most elevated life. So grab your drink of choice, sit back, relax, and join us for another episode of Intuitive Alchemy Radio. Here is your host, Laura Brown.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to thank you so much for joining me. This is Intuitive Alchemy Radio. I am your host, Laura Brown, and this is your September forecast show. We are going to begin at the top of this hour, delving into the collective, universal sort of general energy, the flow of energy as it is moving for each of us this month on a collective level. And it's a very powerful portal, September. We are in the midst of saying goodbye to the summer heat, to saying goodbye to the flames and the activity and the bustle of summer, and are close to moving into this very quiet, stiller energy that is here, a time when things can become much stiller, much calmer. I use the word passive, but very carefully, because it's not that we're not doing. It's just that what we are doing is on a very internal level. It's here in the heart. It's what is going on within, not so much what we are doing outside of ourselves. The more showmanship, the more showy, grand kind of component that we oftentimes feel at the beginning of spring, and certainly feel it swelling to its fullness in summertime. But it is nonetheless, as we enter this darker half of the year, it is still an active energy, but it's just more of an internal, more introspective, more sort of delving into the shadowy corridors and doing that inner self-inquiry and inner exploration. So it's by and large a more personal journey that September and the coming months holds for us. And it feels very appropriate then that the very first sort of energy that we have been feeling at the start of this month, and it's still in play now, we're kind of in the thick of it and will be for another few days, is this energy of the Chariot. We are moving. We are determined. We are on our A game. We are wanting to clean things up, to button things up, to get things moving in the direction of wherever it is that we're headed. We are very focused on cleaning up cycles, on getting things taken care of. We are very focused on making sure that anything that needs doing is being done, so that we can enter those stiller moments. We can enter that place of inner work that we often find where we're drawn towards in the latter half of the year, knowing that we took care of everything above ground. We can go into those inner halls because this energy of the Chariot is really helping to catapult us into a place of what needs doing, what is it that I've left undone, what structures are calling for my time, energy, and attention, that I need to take care of, so that when I do receive, when I do go within, it's going to be from a place of knowing so contentedly that we are okay, that we've taken care of everything. And it's a very powerful energy, but it is also an energy that is still very, very internal. So we are very focused on also defining for ourselves what it is that we want, what it is that we are looking to aspire towards. What do we need to assimilate within ourselves in order to truly feel that internally and externally we are completing those cycles? We are buttoning things up. We are taking care of what needs our attention and what is calling for our focus and our presence. This is taking us into now, in a couple of days here, the energy will be shifting into more of that Empress energy. It's more of that energy of nurturing and sowing certain seeds and tilling the land and really getting ourselves into a place of understanding that lots of things, lots of structures, lots of doors, lots of opportunity has begun to open up, has begun to spring up around us. Where did it come from? The miraculous thing, and this is gonna, it blew my mind as I was channeling this energy. It came from a place of where we were in the beginning of the month, where we're still at now. From internally positioning ourselves with that determination and resilience of the Chariot. The Chariot gives us, too, the ability to go from an I can't mindset to an I can, where all of a sudden we're sloughing off the self-doubt, the worry, the concern, and we're moving into a space of I can do this. In fact, as I was channeling the transmission for this month, that was one of the phrases that was repeated over and over, literally tickling my ears. It was so strong. Saying, I can, I can, I can. And when we internally position ourselves to be in that place of I can do this, I can do this, I know I can do this, and I'm going to do it, what we find is that alone is enough to alchemize the energy around us. And suddenly all of this new life and new opportunity is being birthed all around us. And we didn't have to muscle our way to it. We didn't really need to do anything other than simply believe in ourselves, to simply believe that we can do it. And that really is where the mantra of this month comes into play. And that mantra, if you want to write it down, I strongly encourage you to do so and repeat it over and over again this month, is I nurture my dreams into being instead of muscling my way towards them. Because that is very much what the energy of this month is teaching us. It is teaching us that by simply internally positioning ourselves into a place of knowing that we can do it and believing in ourselves and letting the old skin of self-doubt and worry and what if this and what if that paves the way for all of this beautiful serendipitous alignment to happen all around us. And so the Empress at mid-month gives us the opportunity to really begin to hone in and discern what it is that we are going to give our fullest attention and presence to. And that is really very important, especially with the very generative energy that is being felt at mid-month. There's going to be a lot that is opening up. Suddenly we go from maybe having very little in terms of opportunity or feeling very little inspiration to suddenly having so much of it and having so many opportunities and so many doors that are opening that suddenly the big conundrum is not, whether or not certain things are possible for us or if there's momentum to be had. It's where am I going to build that momentum? And so the Empress gives us the opportunity to hone in on where we are going to show up and nurture with our fullest presence, anything that we desire to see take hold or to really begin to take shape in the latter half of the year. And it's very important that we are approaching this with the utmost discernment. Because the latter half of the month, as we talked about, or the latter half of the year is much stiller. It's much calmer. It's much more of an introspective time than it is, sort of the external, expression of that energy. So we're not going to be as efficient. We're not going to have the same energy levels. Now, of course, this waxes and wanes, and it can be different for some of us. Some of us really do come alive and feel inspired at the latter half of the year. But there is still this sense of personal rhythm that slows us down a bit. So we want to be very careful. What are we truly focusing on? Where are we putting our time, energy, and effort? And making sure that we're not overextending ourselves. And this is going to be very much highlighted come towards the end of the month, because then we have the Queen of Wands, who is really taking hold, and it is a very, very fiery energy. The Queen of Wands is the creatrix. We've laid the foundation. We've done all of the inner work that comes at the beginning and the middle of the month with the Chariot and the Empress. And now the Queen of Wands gives us the motivation, the determination, the passion, the tenacity to really begin to go after it. So it's very much the external sort of, signs of this energy that are reaching out. We are doing, we are going after. We've done the nurturing. We've built up, a surplus of energy that welcomed many serendipitous encounters and opportunities. And now the Queen of Wands is giving us the very fiery motivation, determination, and passion to catapult us forward, to picking up our feet and begin doing the things that need done. But with all powerful things, it can go one way or the other. It must be respected. If we overextend ourselves with that nurturing Empress energy mid-month, and we are trying to devote too much of ourselves to too many things, we will find ourselves being quite burned by the fiery energy of the Queen of Wands. And rather than being able to really maximize what is possible, we're going to be taken out of it. Will be removed from the momentum. We will have burned the candle both in a place and having to regenerate. And likely it's going to be forced upon us because the Queen of Wands is going to make us really, really inspired to do. We're not going to want to slow down. We're not going to want to take it easy. We're not going to want to take it in stride or with a sense of balance. We're going to want to, sort of feel like we've gone from having no brownies for, a month to suddenly going, I'm going to eat all the brownies. So we want to do all of the things. And while that's really admirable in its understanding, given how much opportunity mid-month is kind of blossoming for each of us in the collective energy, it is still advisable to be so very respectful that fire is not at all discriminate. It will eat anything in its path. It will just do, and it will continue to move and to move. And if we don't consciously interact with that fiery energy, if we don't work and strive to very much keep it under control, so to speak, like a controlled burn, a nice, warm, slow, steady burn, then what we find is that things burn, and they burn very fast. And they're just as quick to go to flame, and they're just as quick to go out. And the ramifications are that we are exhausted, that we are depleted, that we may have overextended ourselves. So all of these many things that we were so inspired about were so utterly divided that unfortunately none of them benefits from the full presence we have to offer. And so consequently, none of them really flourish to the degree that they are capable of flourishing. So towards the end of the month, as much as we're going to want to run and run and run and move and do and move and do, we really have to be mindful that if we don't put some checks and balances in place, if we don't respect the powerfulness of this energy, it is going to take us under. Is going to swallow us. And of course, it doesn't have to be doom and gloom, but it just simply means that all of that possibility can potentially be wasted or otherwise lost in the ether and not really put to its best use. So we're going to head over into a break now, but we will be back with the individual readings going sign by sign once we return. Please stay with us.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Laura Brown here. You're listening to Intuitive Alchemy Radio, your home for inspiring conversations and the intuitive tools that can radicalize your life. We are going into now the individual signs and the cards drawn for each of them. Now, as I always like to say, to get an even deeper idea of how the month is going to shape up for you, I strongly encourage for you to look at or to listen to your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. If you don't know what those are, you can find them out. You can head over to astro.com. Just pull yourself out the free chart by plugging in your birth time and place, and everything will show up there, and you can just click on those individual, names and figure out what those signs are for you. But listening to both of those scopes will be very important to getting an understanding and a clear picture of where you're at this month. The other thing to pay attention to as well is that if you are born, or were born rather, between 7 and 10 days roughly of a sign's transition into the next sign, I always say that it's important to read that next sign as well then. So for example, my birthday, March 18th, I'm right on the cusp, as it's called, of Aries, the transition into Aries. So whenever I'm looking at anything horoscope-wise or tarot-scope-wise, I'm paying attention to Pisces as well as Aries, and also my Virgo moon and my Virgo ascendant. So astro.com lets you pull that all up for free if you don't know what that is. But let's get started with the readings for the month. And we're going to begin this time with Pisces. We're going to flip the script a little bit and start at the very beginning and show our Pisces friends some love. They always have to wait until the end of the show normally. So Pisces, the 10 of Cups is the card for all of you, or all of us, I should say, this month. And the 10 of Cups is a card of connection. It is a card of feeling a sense of community, feeling a sense of warmth and support, and just feeling very nourished by those foundational relationships in our life. It can certainly pertain to relationships. So we could be talking about feeling connected and a renewed sense of connection with our partners. It may well be that you have a relationship that perhaps has been kind of floundering, that suddenly hits its stride. You may even find those who've been dating may decide to kind of elevate to the next level of their relationship and potentially move towards being more defined, more committed. Lots of engagement and marriage proposals and even marriage ceremonies are often indicated with the 10 of Cups. But on a more contextual sort of, or conceptual level rather, the 10 of Cups is that sense of connection and completion in that very emotional sphere. So it can even represent how connected we are to ourselves, to our communities, to the things that we have in our life, the things that we are giving ourselves of, that we are imparting a piece of ourselves to. The Ten of Cups really speaks to just really feeling that deep, deep nurturing that those structures, those entities, those things in our life provide us. And it is a very, very beautiful energy. It's an energy of knowing that we have roots, that we are supported, that we are nourished in all respects. So a great energy to have for the month of September, Pisces. Okay, moving onward to our Aquarians. Now, the Tower card is your card for the month. And really, there's not a whole lot that I can say about this card that is going to necessarily inspire. It is, to me, an inspiring energy because I happen to love threshold moments. And that's really what the tarot card represents for me. It represents how we are on the threshold of what was and what can be. And in order to go over to what can be, a lot of times we have to say goodbye to what was. We have to dismantle what was. We need to witness the breakdown of what was. Unfortunately, for so many of us, that is not a very desirable state. A lot of us clench, we clamor, we kick and scream and suddenly become our worst inner 4-year-olds, and we throw the utmost tantrum whenever we are experiencing or we are seeing signs of a radical. It can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be a way of living. There's, even a home. For some reason, my guides are saying that to me, something changing around home or where we live or how we live. But this feels to me, Aquarius, very much, again, not so much that the energy is actually on the breakdown. In fact, if you've been paying even a modicum of attention, if you've had your eyes open even a tiny, teensy little bit, chances are you already know what ending has been kind of breeding, what has been coming down the pipe, so to speak. This energy feels like it's focused mostly and primarily on the awareness of how much this is paving the way for us to rebuild, how it is really helping to catapult us over into the space of, oh, this is why I went through all of that. This is what was forged from that flame, from that tension, that pressure. And the energy of it actually feels incredibly inspiring and incredibly beneficial. So as much as the change and the upheaval, it might have been something you resisted, it might have been something that you weren't super keen on. The feeling I have with this Tower energy is that as you're moving through September, as much as you're kind of seeing that ending, really kind of reach its echelon, more importantly, what you're beginning to see expressed is the renewal component to this energy. And you're seeing now all that is being birthed around you, all that is being made possible because of the space that was cleared. Okay, so now we are moving on to Capricorn. Oh, I love my Capricorns. You all have the Three of Wands, and this is really such a cool, inspiring energy because the Three of Wands is the making of a thing. It is giving something a shape, a form. It is giving something a past, a present, and a future. It is very much about the Trinity. It's very much about giving such a tangible expression to what likely, if we look at the echelon of, aces, twos, threes, etc., numerology and tarot, was before just sort of an idea with the Two of Wands, one in which we had to kind of make a decision around. Now with the Three of Wands, you've made a decision and you're coming into September going, okay, I've now decided on something within my life. I've decided on a new way of being. Maybe I'm relocating. Maybe I am switching jobs, whatever it may be. The Three of Wands now is the energy that is pushing you towards making a plan. Because having an idea is great. Then we make the decision to actually follow that idea to its completion, even better. But that even is just part of the process. Now you need to make a plan. You need to go, okay, this is how I'm going to go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. This is how I'm going to traverse wherever it is that I am headed, wherever it is that I'm going. So the Three of Wands encourages you this month to really begin to put that plan together. What is it that you need to do to get from your point A to your point B? What is it that you need to clear out? What decisions do you still need to make? What structures need to be implemented? What systems need to be put into place? This is a time of planning. It is a time of not just having a singular plan, because it's never really advisable to put all our eggs in one basket. It is rather advisable for us to begin to kind of go, okay, what are the potential what ifs here? How can we maybe account for those? So it's having a few plans at your disposal so that whatever it is that you are pursuing this month and in the latter half of 2019, you are doing so with the utmost preparedness. You are ready. You have planned, you have put things together, and all of your resources can be best put to use because of all that preparation. Okay, so moving on from our Sagittarians, we have the Three of Pentacles, and I adore the Three of Pentacles. Lots of three energies in this month's energy. And the Three of Pentacles for you feels very much like a time where you're being encouraged to touch base with your community. You're being encouraged to work in tandem and in collaboration with others around you. You're a highly independent sign, Sagittarius. You don't really need anybody. You pride yourself on kind of being this lone wolf who can, howl at the moon and traverse the forest all by your lonesome and be all the better for it. And that's super. Nothing wrong with that at all. It fits you like an old glove and it's super comfortable. However, there are times in our life where we need and we benefit so deeply from touching base with those around us. So there's something foundational in your life this month that is coming to the fore, that you are strongly being encouraged to touch in with those around you. Gain from their wisdom. Have whatever it is you're working towards or on or about, benefit from their wisdom. It's time for you to understand that as much as you may be a lone wolf, there's times where we need our people. There's times where we need our community, and we need to touch base with them and experience how anything we're doing or going through can be greatly enhanced, maybe even alleviated if you're feeling a sense of challenge or friction, but otherwise just really be enriched by having the input and the assistance and the wisdom of others brought into the experience. All right, we are moving right along to my Scorpions. I love my Scorpios. My daughter is a Scorpio. I never really understood how difficult Scorpio little girls can be until now. But I love them all the same. And this month, Scorpio, you have the High Priestess. So this is very much about getting in tune with your personal rhythms, getting in tune with your personal cycles. This is going to be a very powerful month, likely one where a lot of light bulb moments are taking place, one in which you are feeling the wisdom of your intuition dialed on high. You're going to have a lot of very, very vivid dreams. Some of the imagery that's coming towards me when I focus in on this energy, it just feels very much like you are embodying that energy of the High Priestess. So this is a month for paying attention to your dreams. It's a time for you to pay attention to your intuition. What is it saying to you? How can you trust it more? How can you also bring in, just like the moon has her cycles, how can you begin to foster a greater awareness of your inner tides, of your personal cycles? If you're feeling towards this latter half of the year, your energy begin to wane, you're feeling maybe a little bit more moody, you're wanting to go into the depths of your being, which is a place that all of our Scorpio friends feel so comfortable in. It's time to honor that. But the more awareness you have around your personal cycles, the more you can navigate those wells with a sense of ease and grace and not get into a space of freneticism or anxiety, wondering why am I feeling lethargic? Why am I feeling a bit more moody? The high priestess says, listen to the subtle tides within, listen to the inner wisdom, because that is all the answer that you need. There's nothing external to you this month that is going to provide you with an answer. Everything is going to be internal. And sometimes you're going to need to get very, very still to hear the subtlety of that wisdom. All right, Libra, you all have the Hermit. And I have to say that I had this very clear sort of idea of the Hermit energy when I first saw this card. And then I read something so profoundly by Rory McMahon, who's a tarot reader here in Denver. She posted something about the Hermit and it fit like a glove. And I'm not going to necessarily read what she had wrote, but the premise is that the Hermit is encouraging you this month to remember that the only way to truly know who you are at your core, who you are for you, to you, when you strip everything else away, is when you strip everything else away. It means kind of pulling yourself back from who you are for the community, who you are for your partner, who you are for your children, your friends, your family, etc. And really just turn your focus inward and consult and turn that hermit's light. A lot of times the imagery is of a man holding this very old-fashioned, beautiful lantern, is to turn that light inward and to begin to explore those oftentimes neglected inner halls. A very important energy for this time of year. You're being encouraged to listen to your inner knowledge, your inner wisdom, to explore who you are from that perspective. That way, when you return to your other roles, when you return to who you are for everybody outside of you, you're enriched from that connection to the true you, the you will always be. All right, Virgo, Six of Pentacles. This is a month of giving. Yes, it will likely involve your giving to others, your giving to your community, your friends, your family. You may even find that a certain somebody is needing a little extra help from you this month. That's okay. Give without expectation if it's in your means to do so. If it's not, is there an intangible presence you can bring for that person in their time of need that can satisfy in lieu of any physical or tangible resources? But the other way I'm being pulled into this energy is the reminder that you have to be sure to give to yourself. Do not leave yourself out of the equation. Do not forget what it is that you need, what it is that your soul is calling for. Again, especially as we enter the latter half of this month, when you're going to be very inspired to go, go, go. You're going to be wanting to do all the things. That's lovely. But the Six of Pentacles is reminding you that you have to make sure to give to yourself. Everything you do, every role that you play in this life is only as rich and as full as the level at which you show up for yourself. And I want you to repeat that to yourself over and over, because Virgo, you tend to be very good about taking care of others. You like to swoop in and go the extra mile, sometimes with a little too much expectation, but this is a time for you to begin to balance that by giving to yourself, making yourself priority. All right, we're going to finish out the rest of the readings, Leo through Aries, after we return from this break, so be sure to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Conflict comes in many forms and often triggers a fight or flight response. Some of us gravitate toward conflict, while many will stop at little to nothing to avoid it. Unfortunately, what we resist will persist, which often forces us to face our fear and deal with it head on. Join me during my show, Conflict Rising, as I discuss the important role of conflict with leaders who have moved through it successfully. Tune in Thursdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, it's always darkest before the dawn.
Hi, I'm your host, Smokey Colbert, filling in for Smokey because after 75 years of...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Turns out there's much more to say. Nearly 90% of wildfires are caused by us humans being careless, dumping our used barbecue coals willy-nilly. Guess the song was wrong. We did start the fire. That's why I respect Mother Nature and her trees, whether coniferous or new car scented. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, Laura Brown here. You're listening to Intuitive Alchemy Radio, and we are digging into the energy of September. Now, before we get into the rest of these signs, we're tackling Leo through Aries in this last half of the show. I wanted to let you all know that if you're interested in a live transmission and guided shamanic journey to help you ground into and root into this energy, I strongly encourage you to join over at Healers Wanted. That's healerswanted.com. Use that same code, Healers Wanted, all one word, capital letters, to get your first month free. And then I think it's like $11. Where I'm being pulled with this is this feeling of restriction and clenching. There is something going down in the ether. There's something happening this month where you may begin to behave impulsively. You may feel this sense of, oh, did I make the wrong decision? Or, ooh, I really do feel I made the wrong decision. The medicine with the Five of Swords is to simply be mindful of the steps you are taking. The great thing is that if you make a wrong decision, if you make the wrong choice, you can always choose differently. That is the wonderful, beautiful, transient nature of this experience. As much as we like to pretend otherwise, very, very little is permanent. So don't move into a space of anxiety if you happen to feel that clenching of, oh, I might have made the wrong choice. Instead, let's move into a space of, okay, how can I pick the pieces up? How can I holistically work with this? What can I change? What can I do differently? All right, moving on to Cancer. Cancer, you guys have the Seven of Pentacles. Now, I wouldn't know that I would necessarily say that our Cancer friends are the most patient of the zodiac. Sometimes they can be, but you're going to get a nice dose of patience this month. The Seven of Pentacles really is about biding our time. It's understanding that there is a natural rhythm to all things, that there is a natural order and flow to all things. You've been working very hard towards something. You've been trying to establish something, to make something happen, to see momentum in some area of your life. And there's this feeling, the visual I get is kind of like you're tapping your toe, like, okay, where's it at? Where's the fruits of my labor? And I get it. I definitely do. But the Seven of Pentacles reminds you that all things happen in the right time. And the right time, according to the universe, may not necessarily be the same in your time. This is a time if you're experiencing a little bit of a lull in the energy, and that's what it is. The Seven of Pentacles is not saying that what you've been working towards is not coming to fruition. It's saying that there's still a bit of time for you to dot those I's and cross those T's to make sure you've invested everything that you can and what you have to offer, that you've done everything to the best of your ability, and to kind of enjoy the calm before the storm. things will be picking up. The energy will be moving. The fruits of your labor are coming. And very likely when they do, the pace of life is going to quicken. There's going to be more on your plate because blessings also come with responsibilities. So as much as you may be tapping your toe and wanting what you want and wanting it now, you're being encouraged with the Seven of Pentacles to hold those horses and to enjoy this little momentary break before the pace quickens and life begins to move a bit faster. Okay, Gemini. Oh, beautiful, beautiful Gemini. I have for you this month the Two of Swords. Now, all twos inherently are about choice. We're choosing from option A and option B. With the Two of Swords, however, the feeling is that we feel rather indecisive. We're having an oh crap moment. We don't quite know what is going on or what is happening or how it is happening. And so consequently, what ends up transpiring is we do nothing. We sit nice and pretty and we kind of wait for some sort of neon sign to pop out of the ether and say, this is the way, you can choose this path. The Two of Swords, the medicine of that neon sign plopping itself down in your path is not exactly super strong. With the Two of Swords, we have to begin to, number one, move out of a place of feeling like there's some kind of information, some bit of information, some piece of information that is being withheld. You know, maybe it's not so much that it's being withheld. Maybe we need to tap into different resources, different gifts, different senses, if you will, some maybe of the intangible senses, in order to truly, truly be able to get the clarity that we are seeking, the clarity that we somehow feel is beyond our grasp. And the very important thing with that is the awareness that we have to then trust. Because when we're very locked, as our Geminis often are, you're a very analytical, very mind-centered sign, in this idea of tangibility, in the, when we're really rooted in the five senses and we're rooted in what we know, what logic tells us, what rationally comes to mind, what happens consequently is that we, number one, don't even think to consider that maybe the answer we're seeking, the bit of information we're after is going to be found through other senses, through the feeling, through the intuiting. But even if we do consider it, then we have to move into a space of trusting. We have to move into a space of trusting the information, the insight that's coming forward. So the Two of Swords is saying whatever decision you have to face this month, whatever choice is needing to be made, you may not get whatever information you're looking for that will help you to making a decision through the tangible five senses. You may have to dip into your intuition. You may have to dip into your emotional center to figure out what choice is the best choice for you. And from there, your task is to trust that wisdom. You can probably talk yourself 3 ways from Sunday out of, into, and around whatever it is that your heart and your intuition's telling you. But that's not going to get you any closer to where you are that you've been working on. You know, whatever it may be, you may have already kind of reached the top of that hill, and now you're in a space where everybody's kind of high-fiving you and congratulating you and saying, way to go, man, you did it. You know, great energy, very, very celebratory, very, very much about having an external representation, meaning other people who are seeing the hard work and the accomplishment that you just met, that you just reached. It's also the internal iteration of that too. So again, it's not just being praised from the out, it's also feeling that praise, that celebration on the inside, knowing that whatever you had to work towards, you had to work your tail off. It didn't come easily. Nobody just handed it to you. So there's this very rich and delicious personal pride that comes into my sphere when I focus in on this energy, that pride of I did it. You know, like we talked about at the beginning with that collective energy, knowing, you know, that feeling of I can. This is your feeling like, okay, I told myself I could and I did it. So it's very enriching. The other iteration of this energy is you may not yet be at the point of that attainment, but the Six of Wands is encouraging you to keep on trucking because it is coming. The light is at the end of that tunnel. The fruits of your labor are ready. And it's always darkest before the dawn, meaning we always conquer and have the greatest growing pains and that sense of resistance right before we're at a place of breakthrough. So be very, very mindful if you're feeling that sense of, I've been toiling, I've been doing all the things, I've been working so hard and I'm still no closer. It's here, it's coming. September is your month, Taurus. All right, finally, we're moving over into Aries. And Aries, you have the Strength card, and it is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be very, very enriched with that ability, that perseverance, that strength, that fortitude to conquer whatever it is that you need to conquer. So get clear on that. What do you want to do? A little goes a very long way with the Strength card. It's an energy of knowing we can tame the wild beast. There's nothing that we truly can't accomplish this month if we put our hearts and minds and fullest presence to it. The other thing with the Strength card, however, is that sometimes in order to be reminded of the strength that we inherently have, shit kind of has to hit the fan. Like things kind of have to go off. Things kind of have to hit us. And so the cherry or the Strength card in that respect is saying to us, listen, you've got every resource you need to get through this. You have every resource you need to see your way through this. And if you're feeling like it's hopeless, if you're feeling like you just can't muster it, think again. Strength is something that you will always have. It doesn't pack its bags and hit the bricks the moment you need it. It's there waiting. Sometimes we just need to dig a little bit deeper for it. But the reward when we do is so incredibly great because we prove to ourselves that we really do have an indelible, an inalienable, a completely impenetrable strength that nobody and no thing outside of us can ever take away from us. Only we can take away our strength. Only we can tell ourselves, nah, I just don't have the strength for that. Only we can diminish our capacity and our presence. So therefore, it stands to reason only we can dig down deep enough to prove to ourselves that it never left us to begin with, that it's always been there, that it's always been waiting. So whether you are feeling on top of the world and ready to conquer everything under the sun and get things done, or whether you're feeling the opposite of that, the strength is still there. It is your ally. It is your closest friend. It is your most loving and most trusting confidant, and it will never leave you. It's just simply up to you to begin to remember that and to let the energy of those words land within you. So those are your readings for September. I hope that they help to give you some clarity as to what the month ahead holds for you. A lot of very powerful, powerful energies. We've got some major arcanas. We've got a lot of, actually got a little bit of everything going on here. A little emotional, a little foundational work, that fiery wands energy, and also that mental acuity of the sword. So a little bit of everything in this very portal, transforming and opening space that September often is for us, and a great, great month indeed. So we have for us in the next show, it's going to be a good one. We have an interview with Bridget Esselmont of biddytarot.com. If you have ever done a reading, if you've ever been interested in doing a reading, if you've ever just been curious in those times of uncertainty and you got yourself a tarot deck, you very likely have searched Google for a tarot card meaning, and hers is the website that comes right up. And so we are talking with her next Wednesday about her journey from Biddy Tarot being basically an educational resource as she was learning the tarot into this 7-figure, beautiful business that now is coaching tarot professionals. It is helping others learn how to read the tarot and supporting a team of, I believe she said, maybe like 15 to 20 people. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing to think of the transformation and the ways in which this beautiful woman, and she truly is, has just created something so precious and so incredibly valuable to those who are tarot readers or tarot enthusiasts, and really has done it from such a place of alignment. And so we're talking with her next week, and she's going to talk both to the tarot enthusiasts and the tarot, people who are interested in tarot, but also tarot professionals. So if you are a tarot professional, you'll want to listen in, because she's got some very valuable tips on how she balances it all, how she makes it all happen, and how she transformed this business from what it was in 1999 to what it is today in 2019. Sorry to even get those numbers out. They're quite the mouthful. So you're not going to want to miss next week's show. It's going to be a great one, and I'm so honored to have had the chance to interview Bridget and to have this discussion. And of course, after the show ends, you can still keep the conversation going. You can head over to Instagram.com/intuitivealchemy.co, @intuitivealchemy.co is my handle. I'm on Instagram doing lots of stories and videos for you, doing daily readings, and also giving you lots of inspiration and energetic updates. So I strongly encourage you to head over there as well. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today. These September readings are always so much fun for me to do, always so incredibly enriching for me on a personal level to follow and to help be my medicine journey for the month. And I hope that they serve to be just as medicinal for you as you make your way through September. We will be back next Wednesday with Bridget Esselmont. Until then, I wish you all the best.